Hello friends, and welcome to part 2 of our OviOS Linux tutorial. In part 1 we had demonstrated how to do an initial setup after a clean OviOS Linux install, and we had created bonded interfaces, set up the network, created Iscsi targets and LUNs, mapped, unmapped. Um, Also, we demonstrated how clients can access Iscsi target and LUNs on OviOS Linux. We also did NFS, SMB, and joining a domain controller. And on the second part, we're going to look at a more specific and advanced feature OviOS has to offer, and that is the snapshot and replication features for data integrity and disaster recovery scenarios. And let me explain what I mean. First, we're going to look at snapshots, and that is a feature that we explain a bit here. And then we're going to look at a use case, and that is having a primary site enabling replication and sync config, and having a secondary site which you can always access should something happen here. And the requirement for replication is really just to have a secondary OviOS site which you can access via SSH without password, so using SH keys. I'm going to show you how that's done. You don't have to know already how to do it. And you're going to need to have enough storage available on your secondary site to replicate your primary site. Meaning, let's say you have a volume here, or you have LUNs, and you want to replicate them to make sure you always have them available should something happen here. Then you're gonna need to have at least enough storage available to replicate those volumes. You can start with little and increase as you need, or you can just make sure you have from the get-go the same amount of storage on your primary and your secondary. What does it mean to have a secondary site and a disaster recovery scenario prepared um, case in your company? Let's say you're a small to medium-sized company and you have a few hundred users accessing their SMB shares. Maybe you have some NFS shares, maybe you have an Iscsi or Iscsi LUNs, depending on your size. What you're going to have to do is to make sure that in case something happens with your primary site, let's say your network goes down or your RAID controller dies, you're going to need a few hours, maybe days to order new hardware to replace a motherboard here, or disks, or like I said, RAID controllers, or a switch. So you cannot afford to have to miss 1, 2, maybe more days of work, and your data needs to be available. And that's where you're going to have your data on your secondary side. The frequency at which you're going to replicate matters a lot. You don't want to overdo it, so you have a large share, let's say 2 terabyte share, which your users access daily. And let's say for that 2 terabyte share, your application takes about 2 hours to complete. I'm just saying that. If you're going to enable replication every 5 minutes, it's just going to fail every time until the base replication is finished, or it takes 2 hours. You know what I mean? So you're gonna have to come up with a frequency. In time you'll get it right, but you shouldn't overdo it. You also shouldn't do it too rarely, let's say once a week, because I'll give you an example. You have your replication on Sunday and your system dies on Friday, and the last version of data on your secondary site will be last Sunday, so you don't have anything from Monday to Friday, and that's not good either. So maybe every hour, every 2 hours, every night. I'm just giving an example. I'll show you how to do that. First, let's just go and do some snapshots and show you how to restore data from snapshots. So I have an NFS volume here shared to this client, which I have prepared already. You can see that's my client right there. And I've prepared my client to access the host ovios.org. I'm going to show you what I mean. Right, so I have this available to my client. I'm going to mount this this share. There you go. So it's mounted using version 4.2. Let's say you have a requirement for version 4.1 specifically. Now you're gonna have the option to control which version of OviOS offers to its clients by using an option called nfsdisable version, that one. If you have to disable 4.2, for example, you're gonna do 4.2, that's enough. But if you want to disable more than one, let's say 4.2 and 4.0 and 3, we're gonna do that, right? nfs stop, nfs start. Let me unmount this. And now it's version 4.1. So now my client will only be able to mount using version 4.1 because OviOS disabled 4.2, 4.0 and 3, for example. Okay, that's fine. So in mount I have some files, and on the OviOS server I can take a snap. I think I already took a snapshot. I did. I'm going to delete the snapshot and show you how to take one. Your snap name will always be what's after the @ sign. Okay. Now you notice the ovios-shell always works kind of the same way. When you do some administrative tasks, it will ask for pool name, volume name, or LUN name. It's always working the same way. So if I want to take a snapshot for this volume, so I'm sure I have a backup of this data. I'll just do snap take data nfs vol. I can do a snap name or leave it empty for default, so I can do the default, right? It's fine. And that will be my snap name. This contains your date and time. And okay, I have my snapshot, and let's say one client by mistake will remove all my data here. Sorry. And it's gone. Very easy to restore. Just go to snap restore data nfs vol my snap name, and it's restore my data is there. There you go. There is a auto restore tool which you can use to restore, so you don't have to do manual snapshots. And you can go on our website and documentation, and you can go to the CD auto snap guide here, and you can set up cron jobs to take snapshots at whatever times you want. So that's how it works. Alright, now I'm going to go and show replication. Replication will require my secondary site, which is here. I don't have anything on this site, so storage, I have some storage. I have 2 disks available. SDA will not be available, but I have SDBS DC there. 8 GB, and but I don't have a pool already. I'm gonna create it when I prepare the secondary site. But first I need to prepare the primary site, and for that I need to go and create an SSH key. It's already there. Okay, I don't need to recreate it, but basically you could just create a new one. There you go. I need to add my secondary site to this host file. It's my host name too. Okay, so let's see if I ping my host name. Perfect. That's all you have to do. And the last step to prepare for replication is to prepare your primary for replication is to copy the sh key and to the secondary side to allow for um, the primary to access your secondary pools. I'll show you how to do that. You just need to do ssh-copy-id. My file will be the public key, that one which we created before, and just do your secondary hostname. Yes, enter the password one time, and there you go. Let's see if I want to SSH. I can do it without a password now. I'm on a secondary. Okay, I can leave this. Leave. Always leave when you want to exit the OviOS shell. Always leave. Don't let it running in the background. It's going to go in a loop maybe and take up CPU unnecessarily. Now to prepare my secondary site, because right now I have the I have prepared a primary. I can start replication, but I don't have a pool on my secondary site, because if I go here and do retadm help, it will tell you that you need on the destination you're gonna have to have a pool prepared, but not the volume or the LUN which you wanna replicate. I'll show you what I mean. So I just need to create a pool. Now, in a real disaster recovery scenario, you're gonna want to have the same pool name and volume name and LUN names as on your primary. Maybe to avoid any unnecessary time when you're gonna have to change configuration for your clients to access these things. I'm gonna do the same here. I'm gonna do data, and I'm gonna add my my disks like that. SDB, SDC. Okay. So my secondary is basically now prepared. I have my IP, I have my pool. Let's see what I can replicate. I can replicate SMB ball, right? Because I have this already here. So I do have my home. It's not available to me. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I'm still joined to this domain controller. That's why I see my OviOS host here. So I can replicate my NFS volume, for example. I have two LUNs. I can replicate those LUNs. So again, when I do initiate, My destination will be, I'm not going to do IP, I'm going to do destination hostname. The source pool name. So my pool name is data. There you go. And the volume or LUN I want to replicate. Let's do nfsdisable. The destination pool name, I already have it prepared. It's data. And the destination data set to be created. I can create whatever name I want. I can do nfsvol replicated, but I'm not going to do that. I want to keep it um, with the same name. So it's going to take a snapshot and replicate over all my data. And I'm going to show you what it does. You see, now it's there. I didn't have it before, but now it's there. Can do retadm status, and it will show me source, destination, the status, and the base snapshot. And the same here. So I already have my data here. I'm going to show you how I know I have it here. It's there. That's my data from my primary site. I can do a LUN too. For example, let's do another initiate replication initiate. Okay, enter the source pool name. It's going to be data. Let's do LUN 01. Why not? Destination pool name is data. Destination data set. I'm going to do the same LUN 01. And it's there. You can see the same LUN list. It's here. Now on my source, I have maybe multiple LUNs, multiple targets. As you can see, on my destination, I only have what I have already replicated. Now, target list. I don't have any targets, although apparently I should. Let me show you something. I can use this sync config tool. My destination is OviOS Sync 2. Alright, so I'm gonna, this is unexpected, but it's a good idea to show you what happened here. I have on my source, I have set up Iscsi in a specific way, and that is to allow traffic only on this IP, which is a local IP here. I can't have that, right? So I need to change this to allow to all IPs. So do sync config again. Right, so on my source, I need to make sure that if I use specific IPs, like in this case for Iscsi target, if I sync this config to my destination, it will not work. Error starting Iscsi on this IP, right? Because that's not a local IP to this host. if I really need this specific configuration, then I have to make sure that I keep that in mind when I do replication. But this was a good demonstration of how sync-config worked. It did move over my configuration. So my LUN is mapped. It should be available already to any client here on my destination, on my disaster recovery site, OviOS Linux. Just like my volume is already available, right? I just need to make sure that NFS is running. I'm gonna start it right now. ID map should not be started here. Okay, so it started. Let's disable ID map. So now if anything should happen to my client here, I will be able to access my data immediately on my disaster recovery site. I'm going to show how, but first I'm going to show how to do a retadm incremental replication. So I'm going to do data nfsdisable, and let's do another one, LUN01 I think it was. Yes. Let me show you something how this works. So let's go to my client right now. Right. Okay. And let me create many more files. Right. So all these files. There you go. So my clients are accessing data, producing data, doing their thing. They don't need to know what's going on in the back end, what OviOS is doing. I'm gonna run our replication. And you can see on my secondary side all these files are already there. So basically replication works this way. It's very simple. Once you have initiated a replication using retadm initiate, you can just go ahead and add cron jobs, right? Edit cron. Let's say every minute you're gonna do this. And festival. Obviously, it's not gonna be every minute, but just an idea. So there you go. And you just need to make sure that um, you check the status. You're gonna have it there. So completed for each replication, and on your secondary site, you basically don't need to worry too much about anything. Now I'm gonna show you how to access your files if there is a real disaster recovery scenario. So you go to your Linux machine. Be ready to change the IP. Now let's say this one dies. I'm just gonna stop NFS for now, right? So let's do it. I can't even unmount NFS. Correct. All right. So my I can't access my data, right? My primary site is down, so all I need to do is point my client to the secondary site, and that's 5. I'm gonna mount this, and my files are there. So now I don't care whether this is running or not, my files are there. And basically Iscsi works the same. I can show you, and SMB pretty much. I have only replicated one LUN. Let's see which IP I have here. I have, okay, let's see this one. This one work. This will work. Target 01, perfect. If you do target show, it will show you the target configuration. Target list will show you just the targets. LUN mappings will show you which LUNs you have mapped to which target, or you can do LUN list, and it will show you again the LUN if it's mapped, LUN ID, and the target name. I'm gonna use and options Iscsi, just to make sure I don't use a specific IP, which I don't, but I do have a specific port, which I need to keep in mind when I map my target to into the initiator. Let's just go ahead and use this IP. I have this connected here from the last, I'm not connected, but from the last tutorial. I didn't remove them. Let's remove them first, clean up the configuration a bit. Is that the correct port? Let me check quickly. Yes. Okay, so I can connect to my target, perfect. And I see my disks right there. It looks good. Storage device. Okay, this is my LUN. Let's just leave it there. Okay. So let's do another sync config. You have multiple options here. You're gonna need this one for destination for replication. It's gonna sync the configuration right now to the second node. Okay, meaning the secondary node. Let's do this. And there you go. Let's do an Iscsi reload. Let's make sure. I will actually use this opportunity to show how quickly you can access your Iscsi storage from a Windows VM in this case, and then we're gonna do a failover. I just need to format it, and then I need to make sure I have another replication before I do the failover, because on the other side right now it's not formatted. Perfect. Let's open it. So this is my share. I'm not gonna do the share now. That's my drive. Okay, let's do some files here. New folder, new folder, new folder on my LUN, right? Pointing to my primary site. Let's have a replication. Alright, let's do a sync config. Although right now this wouldn't be necessary, there is no configuration change. But I'm just doing it to show you how this works. So you can basically also add this into a cron job after the replication runs to make sure that configuration is always synced to your disaster recovery site. Let's go here. Non-list is there. It should be directly available. Iscsi sessions you can use to check your active sessions to Iscsi targets. So on my secondary we just saw there is no session. And I have my Microsoft initiator here in an active session. Now let's kill this node and move over to disaster recovery, but also to demonstrate data integrity. Let's say I'm removing not all of them, just 2 folders here, right? So, and inside I'm gonna have another folder. But in the meantime, my primary site goes down. There is a crash. So I'm gonna stop Iscsi. It's not running, perfect. On my Windows machine at this moment I cannot access my LUN, really. Shouldn't be accessible. There you go, it's out, it's gone. So a quick failover with OviOS goes like this. I'm going to discover the second portal. I'm going to do my secondary site. I think it's 135. Let me quickly check. Yes. I was trying to reconnect here. Okay, so my volume is available already, and I have the initial version because I had deleted the 2 folders before my primary site just crashed. So I have the version before the last replication. I mean, before the crash, the version that I had with last replication. And this would be my demonstration how replication and snapshots work in OviOS. I hope you will find this useful, and you saw it's very easy to set up. If you have any questions, just drop comments on the YouTube video or send emails. contact form. I'm really happy to answer any questions, take any criticism or uh, suggestions for improvement. And I really hope you guys enjoy this, and the next part will be clustering. That would be really interesting. And yeah, have a great day, everyone.